and to talk about the latest development in the H-1B visa fee hike row. Now 20 US states have gone to a federal court in Boston challenging President Trump's fee hike, calling it unlawful. To discuss that, I'm joined on the show by Prabhu Dayal. He's a former senior diplomat. Good evening, sir, and thank you for being on the show. Ambassador Dayal, first of all, is this now turning political because Democratic states have gone to the federal court against President Trump's decision?
Well, first of all, Amritpal, thanks for having me on your show. You know, the H-1B visa is a non-immigrant US visa that permits American employers to engage foreign workers in specialty occupations like information technology, engineering, medicine, finance, and research, where domestic talent falls short of requirements. Thus, the H-1B visa benefits the United States by filling high-skilled labor gaps in critical sectors. Now, in September this year, President Trump issued a proclamation that requires a $100,000 fee for a new H-1B visa application for workers brought from outside the U.S. Now, the $100,000 fee must be paid by the U.S. employer sponsoring the visa. And this is a significant increase from the previous fees, which typically range between $2,000 to $5,000 per application. The Trump administration said that the goal is to discourage American companies from relying on foreign labor and to prioritize American workers, arguing that the previous system was being abused. However, the new fee is facing significant legal opposition. As you mentioned, a coalition of 20 states led by California are challenging the policy in court. Separate lawsuits have also been filed by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and a group of unions which comprise higher education officials and religious organizations who are also challenging the policy in court. Now, they argue that the amount being demanded by Trump as the H-1B visa fee is arbitrary and it far exceeds the actual processing costs. They also say that the president has usurped the authority which has been granted to Congress to set the fees for H-1B visas. And these states which have filed the lawsuit contend that it creates an unlawful financial barrier, particularly for employers in public sectors like health care and education. So thus the legal challenges are ongoing, and hearing of the Chamber of Commerce lawsuit is scheduled later this month. So the validity of the fee hike to $100,000 remains uncertain pending these legal outcomes.
But Ambassador Dayal, we heard the California AG or the Attorney General say that this is unlawful and the Trump administration cannot do it, but the White House has defended the decision. It says it's part of the broader plan to reform the H-1B program. They insist that there was rampant misuse of this visa. Now this $100,000 fee will act as a deterrent, but for those who are abusing the system. But will if a super specialty is required, or if there is a rare case in national interest, that can go through?
Well, you're right. The argument put forward by President Trump was that the new law which he was bringing into force was actually meant to check the abuse of the earlier system, and that companies were ignoring American talent and were resorting to cheaper workers from abroad. Now, the states who filed the lawsuit, incidentally, there were also 2 states which have Republican governors, though, of course, all the 20 attorney generals of all these states are Democrats. So these states who filed the lawsuit argued that the fee will create significant financial pressure on public sector and non-profit employers such as universities, hospitals, and schools, which rely on H-1B workers to fill labor shortages in essential services like education and healthcare. So the whole argument which is being put forward by the states which have filed the course is that the H-1B visa hike will hinder innovation and also access to healthcare and education by restricting access to a vital pool of skilled international talent.
Okay. So how is it going to affect the Indian IT firms?
Well, amongst the Indian IT firms, TCS is a very big,
Employer.
user of the H-1B visas. Of course, the biggest users are Amazon, which hires about 13,200 H-1B workers, and also followed by Meta, Microsoft, Google, Apple. But TCS is also a big employer, and so also are Wipro and I understand Infosys. But they will be impacted, no doubt. But I tell you that from my own experience, when I was posted in the United States, I visited the TCS offices.
Okay.
And I saw that they were increasingly trying to hire American talent. The problem is that not enough American talent is available. So that is why it was thought prudent to provide access to foreign talent. And all these companies who have been relying on the H-1B visas feel that their activities are going to be hampered and that they will face severe talent shortages, which might come in the way of innovation, research, and doing good work, which will benefit the United States.
Ambassador Dayal, but what is the actual position? I mean, okay, there are these 20 attorney generals who have gone, all of them Democrats. So one could argue that, it could be a political stance as well of the Democratic Party. But what is the actual position? Were the companies abusing the system, hiring cheaper talent from outside? And was it impacting the recruitment of genuinely trained Americans who were available, the American talent which was available in America?
Well, I've gone through a lot of American reports in the media on this subject. There is a complete division of opinion. Some feel that, yes, Trump was justified because American companies were ignoring American talent and resorting to hiring foreign workers because they were cheaper. But a lot of people feel that there is a certain racist trend in this new imposition and that the $100,000 fee is totally unjustified. Though, of course, some companies have said that they will pay the fee if they need the talent. But nonetheless, it will impact a number of sectors which are very vital, as I said, universities, even school level education, which relies on foreign workers who are not otherwise available in the United States, healthcare. And let me tell you that there is a very important organization called the Global Nurse Force, which is an international nurse staffing agency, which has sued the Trump administration, claiming that the new costs would reduce working capacity in intensive care units, emergency rooms, and surgical units, where patients have benefited from foreign workers, and the restrictions will increase patient wait times.
But the Trump administration argues they can, review the specialty occupations if there is really a lack of American talent in some particular areas, like the ones that you mentioned, that they can review that and look at that. And but in places where companies are just getting cheap labor and it's harming American employment, they can go ahead and tighten the noose on that.
Well,
and also, and if I may add, how would this argument, with both arguments by both sides, we know what both sides are arguing, how would they face the test of legality? What view could the court take on that?
But the matter is in court, and it all depends on how the court views the legality of the situation. The states which have filed the application are saying that the president doesn't have the authority to hike the visa fees in this manner, and that the authority only belongs to the Congress. So
Okay.
let us see how the courts decide on this matter, because it's a very complex legal issue. Of course, it affects the welfare of the average American also in a number of ways, as I said, due to its impact on healthcare and education. But of course, the functioning of the big companies, which bring in talent from outside to be utilized in, for instance, high tech or engineering or skilled level medicine. So these are areas where the impact is being felt. There is no doubt about it. And organizations which have been hiring workers on H-1B visas and who are now having to pay considerably higher fees will actually heave a sigh of relief if the court strike down the Trump requirement of a $100,000 fee and revert to the older system. Let us see, but the matter is very complex because, on the one hand, the administration is arguing that the earlier system was being misused and American talent was being ignored in favor of cheaper talent from abroad. While, of course, all these states are saying that a number of sectors which rely on foreign workers are being very adversely impacted. Let us see what the courts have to say. But you have a point in trying to hint that there is, of course, a political divide because all the 20 attorney generals of the states which have filed this lawsuit are Democrats. So there is a Democratic Party versus
Yeah.
Republican Party overshadow also. But nonetheless,
Let's
the
see how
legal
it,
issue will have
yeah,
to be decided by the court.
right. So how it faces the test of legality in the U.S. courts. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing your insights with us. Thank you.
Thank you.